I'm finishing up a starter replacement on my wife's 2007 Hyundai Entourage. Not the funnest job in the world, but now that I've done it once, it won't be bad if I ever have to do it again. This will be the same on a 2007 to 2010 Kia Sedona as well. But here's the original starter. This car has 230,000 miles or something like that on it, and I believe this is the original starter, so I got my money's worth out of it. To do this job, the order of the steps you need to do is first disconnect the battery, the ground from the battery. Second thing you're going to want to do is remove this lower splash guard that goes underneath the front all the way across the front of the bottom of the car. The next thing you're going to want to do is remove the O2 sensor. Okay, remove the O2 sensor, the back O2 sensor, the one that's closest to the bottom. You'll know which one it is because it'll be in your way when you're trying to get to the starter from underneath. You can only get to the starter from underneath the car. The next thing you're going to want to do is remove bolts that hold a heat shield over this, and it has to have a heat shield because it's right next to the catalytic converter, the front, the bank one catalytic converter. And you can see there one of these bolts would not come off. I had to grind it off with a grinder, and it took me an hour and a half because I am not a mechanic and don't have the best tools, and I used what I had. I have a little wimpy hot dog compressor, and it would let me go for 10 seconds at a time, and I'd grind and grind for 10 seconds, and it took forever. Finally got the shield off. Let's see. This is mounted in with two 14mm bolts, and you have to have a short extension in order to reach them, because if you try to use a deep socket, then it's too long and the transmission prevents you from being able to get on it, and if it's too short, then the frame prevents you from getting to the bolt. So you got to be in, there's a sweet spot. You can do it with regular tools, but you might be better off using a U-joint or something. I just didn't. I used an extension. I found the sweet spot and I went that way. Let's see. That's about it. I wanted to say I've seen a couple of other videos on this, and they talked about removing the engine mount. You don't have to do that, or at least I didn't have to. But I removed the O2 sensor and they didn't. I figured the O2 sensor would be easier. That gives you the clearance you need to get the heat frame bolts or the heat shield bolts, and to be able to get this out from underneath. You have to drop it from underneath. After you get the starter mounted and the wires connected, you're going to want to test it before you put the heat shield back on to make sure it's that it works. You'll reconnect the battery for that. Do not forget to disconnect the battery when you put the heat shield on, because you could short and make sparks. Ask me how I know. All right, that's it. I hope this helps somebody. Thanks for watching.